dedication, our experience, and our expertise to this shared goal of serving our county community. Our dedication to others gives honor to our work. May we be ever mindful of this amidst any frustration or challenge. As we gather to continue our noble goal, our higher purpose, we acknowledge our higher power. For many in this room, that is the divine. If you are not a person of faith, I invite you to reflect. If you are a person of faith, I invite you to pray. Almighty and eternal God, as we come before you, focus our minds and hearts upon your will. Remove the many distractions that dissipate our energy. Remind us of our special purpose, gathered together in your name to be stewards and servants. Come to us and be with us. Enter our heart, mind, and spirit. Guide us what we are to do and where we ought to tend. Show us what we must accomplish in order that, with your help, we may be able to please you in all things. May you alone be the author of our decisions. Grant us a spirit of humility that we may seek to serve. Grant us a spirit of gratitude that we may recognize each moment as an opportunity to serve and each person as a gift and blessing. Grant us a spirit of patience for those who test our goodwill. Grant us a spirit of fortitude for the times when we face fatigue. Continue to bless the work that we do in your name. Continue to bless all the employees and departments of DuPage County. Bless the leadership of the county board and the very special residents of the Care Center. May we continue to be good stewards of this region and its resources. Unite us to your will as we serve you and the people of DuPage County. We ask all these things in your name as you live and reign forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, please be seated. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Cahill. Here. Chaplin. Here. Childress.
Yes.
Covert.
Here.
Dessart. Here. Eckhoff. Here. Evans.
Here.
Galassi. Here. Garcia.
Here.
Guston. Here. Krajewski. Here. LaPlante. Here. Ozog. Here. Rutledge. Here. Schwarzy. Here. Tornatori. Here. You.
Here.
And Zay. Here.
Okay, I'd like to invite Member Dessart and Eva Scarborough to the podium. Okay, we begin this morning with our annual celebration of Pride Month. We are thrilled to welcome our guests as we celebrate DuPage County's LGBTQ+ community. Member Dawn Dessart is the proclamation sponsor and the Naper Pride board member. I am also pleased to welcome Naper Pride's Eva Genevieve Scarborough, who is here representing the organization and accepting our 2023 proclamation. I'll read it first and then ask you both to say a few words. Whereas DuPage County has a diverse lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ community, and the DuPage County Board is committed to supporting the visibility, dignity, and equity for all people in that community. And whereas DuPage County accepts and welcomes people of diverse backgrounds and beliefs and recognizes we must continue to educate all to bring awareness of prejudice and discrimination. And whereas members of the LGBTQ community are vital members of all fields of professions, providing an immeasurable impact to our economic, cultural, and civic success of our county, of our country and our county, and contributing to a stronger community. And whereas LGBTQ Pride Month is celebrated every year during June to honor the 1969 Stonewall riots in New York City, where members of the LGBTQ community gathered at the Stonewall Inn to protest discriminatory laws and practices, which started a national movement. And whereas groups such as Naper Pride continue to advocate for the rights of the LGBTQ community and educate the public about issues of importance to the LGBT community in DuPage County. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board and members of the County Board do hereby recognize June 2023 as LGBTQ Pride Month, salute groups such as Naper Pride and others who continue their advocacy efforts, and encourage all residents to reflect on the ways we can live and work together with a commitment to mutual respect and understanding. Approved this 27th day of June 2023 in Wheaton. Moved? So moved. Seconded? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Chair. It is my honor to stand here with my Naper Pride colleagues, Kelly Jacob Kent, who came in a little bit late, Eva Genevieve Scarborough, and Dr. Allison Mitch to accept this proclamation. As an ally, I have served on the board of Naper Pride for more than 4 years, and I could not be more proud of the work we have accomplished. Together, we have given our community 2 amazing festivals. We have brought to our community several exceptional health and resource fairs, which have included HIV testing, COVID vaccines, monkeypox vaccines, thanks to our incredible DuPage County Health Department for making those vaccinations accessible to our community. The health and resource fairs have also provided free Narcan and opioid education sessions, adoption seminars, and so much more. Naper Pride is primarily a service organization, and everything we do is for our whole community, not just for the LGBTQ community. We work hard, we serve with our hearts, but we also like to have fun. In that spirit, Naper Pride is hosting our inaugural Gula. You've heard of a gala? We're having a gula on Friday, October 13th at the Sheridan Lisle, Naperville in Lisle. It'll be a fun night of dancing, eating. We'll have a costume contest in a haunted house called the Hotel of Horror. So you can come in costume or come as you are. If you'd like more information on the gula, go to naperpride.org. Thank you so much for this proclamation.
Thank you all so much. I'm Eva Genevieve, and it's an honor to be here before you all. And to receive a proclamation like this is wonderful, because the struggle so many LGBT people have gone through, and I'm trans, and it's just the struggle against people and opinions and church views and lifestyle critics. You know, it wears one down. Wears one down and wears one down. And I mean, this is like a new day for a lot of us, because, you know, finally we're being accepted into the whole community, which is just where we want to be. We don't really want our own little bubble. We want to be just one of everyone. And that's I think an important distinction to make. You know, we're all humans. We all share the earth. We breathe the air, including the Canadian smoke that we're all inhaling today to get our 3 packs. So we share it, and we need to work together. And so this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, now I'd like to invite Member Schwarzy, Lisa Snipes, and John Menino, Milton Township Supervisor, and CERT volunteers to the podium. Okay. Let's just take a few moments this morning to recognize some volunteers who help our Community Services Department carry out the annual point-in-time count of unsheltered homeless persons in DuPage County. It's a monumental task that takes place on one of the coldest nights of the year. For more than a decade, these volunteers and staff from Milton Township have bundled up and stepped out, playing an important role in helping Lisa Snipes, there, our Continuum of Care planner, accomplish this task. We were happy to be able to get this group together and thank them for their efforts. Allow me to read this proclamation, and then I'll ask Member Schwarzy to start out the remarks as the Chair of the Human Services Committee. Okay. Whereas the Milton Township Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, is an all-volunteer, community-trained organization dedicated to meeting the needs of DuPage County residents during disaster and emergency situations. Whereas, since 2011, Milton Township CERT leadership and its volunteer members have been an active partner in the DuPage Continuum of Care point in time count of persons experiencing unsheltered homelessness in DuPage County. And whereas, as part of the CERT education and training, Milton Township CERT volunteer members learn search and rescue safety skills, which are also used to identify and survey unsheltered persons who lack a fixed, regular, or adequate nighttime residence. And whereas Milton Township CERT provided 45 trained point-in-time count volunteers during the overnight hours to offer coverage of the DuPage County Forest Preserve, Illinois Prairie Path, Great Western Trail, Naperville River Walk, and other assigned communities. And whereas Milton Township CERT's ability to mobilize local resources, coordinate a multi-agency response, and promote a community-wide commitment to ending homelessness is valued and respected. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the County Board, do hereby commend the Milton Township CERT community for their dedication and commitment to the DuPage County Continuum of Care during the annual point-in-time count to assist in planning services and programs to appropriately address local homelessness housing needs. Move. Motion. Second. All in favor? Motion carries. Approve this 27th day of June, 2023 in Wheaton, Illinois.
So thank you, Chair Conroy. First of all, I just want to say, look, I'm a big fan of CERT. Certainly Milton CERT. I've known Trish for probably a couple decades. I'm a fan of all CERT teams. In Carroll Stream, I regularly, for about a decade or more, used to teach the fire safety portion to our CERT team in Carroll Stream. Just a little bit more about what CERT does. Their goal really is to train civilians to assist first responders in a disaster, but also to be better prepared to take care of themselves, their coworkers, and their family. So they train in things like search and rescue, which you already heard. They train in disaster preparedness, fire safety, and disaster medical EMS, and that's just a few of the things they train on. So with this in particular proclamation, the Homeless Continuum of Care is an organization of dozens of nonprofits and government entities working to end homelessness. The county serves as the lead agency, and Lisa Snipes serves as the continuum planner. So big thanks to Lisa for all her work that she does to coordinate all these activities. This annual one-night point-in-time count is required by HUD and must take place during the last week of January, so it's always a very cold night. I remember when Mary Keating asked if anyone on the Human Services Committee wanted to volunteer to get up at 2 a.m. on a January cold morning. I put it in my calendar, and I never talked about it again. So many agencies do send their staff and volunteers to assist with the count, which covers the entire county in just one night. But it certainly could not be accomplished without the huge support of the Milton CERT team. As you heard, they provided 40 or so volunteers. The CERT team's training in search and rescue makes them perfect partners to help cover the trails and forest preserves. We appreciate their partnership. Since 2011 they've been doing this, and congratulate them on their dedication to help us connect people experiencing homelessness to agencies and programs that can support them. So thank you guys very much again. And I do want to mention real quick, part of their funding comes from our highway departments. our township highway departments. We have a couple highway commissioners here with Wayne Township and Milton Township. So thank you for your support there. And I'm going to turn this over to John Menino.
Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Chair Conroy. And thank you for the awesome board that you have here before us, the residents of DuPage County, for the acknowledged honor that you have bestowed upon Milton Township Community Emergency Response Team. I stand before you today filled with immense pride, gratitude as we gather and accept this extraordinary proclamation bestowed upon us besides the esteemed DuPage County Board. This recognition is a testament to the unwavering dedication, selflessness, tireless efforts of each of our members that are sitting over there, several of them, and the ones that stand before you. In the white shirts, these guys are leaders. And if they're paid, they're not paid very well. And we just appreciate you very much. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest appreciation to the DuPage County Board for this remarkable honor. Your recognition of our team's commitment to service is an unwavering dedication to the safety and well-being of our community is truly humbling. We are profoundly grateful for your trust, support in our mission. I would also like to extend a heartfelt thanks to the members of the Milton Township CERT, right over there. We thank you very much. Each of you are an integral part of this organization, bringing diverse skills, expertise, and unwavering spirit to volunteerism. Together, we've built a team that exemplifies the very essence of our community resilience and preparedness. Our CERT team is comprised of individuals who have made a noble choice to be first to respond during crisis and in the times of crisis. From natural disasters to public health emergencies, which we've all just went through. We have faced challenges head-on with courage and compassion. We have trained relentlessly with citizens and assisted with readiness to all those that need us the most. This proclamation is a testament to the countless hours that we've devoted to honoring, honing in on our skills, attending trainings, and embracing the core principles of CERT. None of our accomplishments would have been possible without the unwavering support of DuPage County Sheriff James Mendrick and all of his deputies, and I see a few of them in here today. We thank you for that. The DuPage County Forest Preserve and police officers, and our county and township highway commissioners, as a few of them stand before us. Gary, if I could just acknowledge you right now, he was one of the founding members of this organization, and the one prior to me, the supervisor, Chris Hydorn. They came together and built this, and I hope you're proud of it today. In addition to our families and friends and loved ones that have stood beside us through countless drills and reoccurring trainings and selfless sacrifices that we've made to serve our community. I'm thinking of, why I'm laughing is I'm thinking of the time spent away from my kids. Oh, Dad's at that CERT thing again with Trish and all the gang. So we owe them all a debt of gratitude and understanding, patience, and unwavering support. As we accept this proclamation, let us serve as a reminder of the responsibility and privilege we hold as members of Milton Township CERT. We continue to lead by example, inspire others to join our cause, and work tirelessly to remove and build a more resilient and prepared community. Our dedication to serve must remain steadfast, and our commitment to collaboration and unity must be remain unwavering. In conclusion, which I'm sure you're ready for, I am overwhelmed with pride and gratitude to accept this proclamation on behalf of Milton Township Community Emergency Response Team. We stand here today as a unified force, ready to face any challenges that come our way. Together, we will continue to serve and protect and uplift our community in the face of adversity. Thank you once again, DuPage County Board, very much with this extraordinary recognition. We are deeply honored and will carry this proclamation as a symbol of our commitment to the safety and well-being of the people that we proudly serve. Thank you, and may we continue to stand strong as a beacon of hope and resilience in Milton Township. God bless you all. Thank you. Let me take these old goggles off my face here. I'll leave this up. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I would like to invite Member Tonatori and Karen Ayala to the podium. Okay. Today, we say goodbye to two important county officials as they begin the exciting new chapter known as retirement. Unfortunately, we would lose a quorum eventually if I tried to list all of their accomplishments because we'd be here long into the night. I'll start with our DuPage County Health Department Director, Karen Ayala. Karen, your service has always been distinguished, but especially so when the times have been difficult. As a body, we remain incredibly grateful for your leadership and expertise during the pandemic and as we emerged from the crisis. Now, as we continue to deal with the aftermath of COVID-19, you've helped set the stage for an important new chapter in mental health care in our community. I'll read our proclamation honoring you, and then I'll ask you and Sam to say a few words. Whereas Karen Ayala joined the DuPage County Health Department in 2007, a Director of Community Health and Public Health Services, and was named Executive Director in December of 2013, demonstrating exceptional leadership throughout her tenure. And whereas Karen Ayala has worked tirelessly to strengthen DuPage County's healthcare safety net to serve the most vulnerable residents of DuPage County. And whereas under her leadership, the department was a champion of the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, thereby ensuring all DuPage County residents have access to quality health care. And whereas Karen Ayala elevated the health department's profile by defining and maintaining high-performance standards and pursuing innovative public health practices, resulting in DuPage County being ranked as the healthiest county in Illinois for multiple years by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And whereas Karen Ayala has collaborated with the DuPage County Board and Board of Health to address key policy issues confronting public health and advocated for policies that optimize the health of the DuPage County population. And whereas Karen Ayala, throughout her leadership, compassion, and unwavering dedication, served the residents of DuPage County throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, while also remaining vigilant to ensure ongoing health department services continue to be available for residents and businesses. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the board do extend our appreciation to Karen Ayala for her many years of outstanding public health service and wish her a long and happy retirement. All in favor? Aye. Enacted this 27th day of June, 2023 in Wheaton, Illinois.
It's been an honor of a lifetime, thanks.
Well, that
was a mistake if you're going to leave it to me.
Not so fast.
Okay, Zay, I had my 30-page PowerPoint ready to go.
You would think that the proclamation says a lot and says it all about Karen, but of course it doesn't. And it doesn't touch on the intellect, the empathy, the compassion, and especially the patience that I've seen in the last 8 years as a member of the Board of Health. Certainly that patience during COVID-19 that she exhibited with her and her team. And she will be remembered by many people as the voice and the face of the pandemic, but I think that I think that her legacy isn't that, but are the people that she's leaving behind, the organization, the leadership team that she has created and cultivated to make sure that as she leaves that we're in great shape at the health department. So in your retirement, Karen, and you're going to West Texas in the middle of nowhere, when you're sitting on your porch drinking sweet tea or whatever it is they drink in Texas, overlooking the tumbleweeds, remember us here in DuPage County, because you will be thought of often. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now I would like to invite Darlene Rossetti to the podium. As I said earlier, we are bidding goodbye to two important county officials, including our superintendent of the Regional Office of Education, Dr. Darlene Rossetti. Dr. Rossetti has served as superintendent for 20 years, and again, we'd be here long into the night if I enumerated all she has done. There is no doubt our county's educational system, its students, teachers, parents, and administrators have all benefited from Dr. Rossetti's service and leadership. Before you begin your presentation, I'll read our proclamation and thank you for your many contributions to DuPage County. Whereas Dr. Darlene J. Rossetti served as superintendent of the Regional Office of Education for the past 20 years and the first woman ever elected to this position. And whereas Dr. Rossetti served DuPage County's most vulnerable student population with DuPage ROE, Safe Schools, GED, and ALOP programs, which continue to be a beacon of hope, promise, and educational excellence. And whereas Dr. Rossetti created and implemented an accelerated learning program to aid students who experienced a learning gap due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas through her work, DuPage County has designated a regional social-emotional learning hub by the state, providing professional development, training, and support to local students. And whereas Dr. Rossetti led the DuPage County Parents as Teachers PAT program, which teaches parents to be their children's first and best teacher, that was designated by the National Parents and Teachers Organization as a Blue Ribbon affiliate, recognized as being an exemplary affiliate and delivering high-quality services to children and families. And whereas Dr. Rossetti convened and co-chaired DuPage County's Anti-Bullying Task Force in 2010 to combat bullying and provide for social and emotional development of all students. And whereas Dr. Rossetti has been a tremendous asset to DuPage County, working to support children academically, socially, and emotionally. And whereas Dr. Rossetti's last day serving DuPage County will be June 30th, 2023. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the County Board do hereby extend our sincere appreciation to Dr. Darlene J. Rossetti for her collaborative leadership, dedication, and exemplary service as Superintendent of the Regional Office of Education, and wish her well in her retirement. All in favor? Okay, enacted and approved the 27th day of June, 2023 in Wheaton, Illinois.
Well, I do have a 30-page PowerPoint that I am going to present to you. No, it's just a short little PowerPoint. And I just want to say to you all, when I did my first presentation 20 years before the county board, I wanted you all to be nice to me, so I put a little gift on everyone's table. And so I thought it was only fitting that as I leave, I also left you with a little gift, because truly the county board has been very good to the Regional Office of Education. And I do want to say thank you for that over the years. And one of the things I just wanted to do is just kind of share with you some of the hallmarks, and I thank you, that proclamation was wonderful over the years, because this board has been a tremendous support. And I think that you all need to know some of the things that you all did as well too to support education in DuPage County. You know, we've always been committed, obviously, you know, to children, and we've always looked at the decisions at the Regional Office of Education, no matter if it's me or my staff. And I don't know who's running the office upstairs, because you're all here. But nonetheless, if you get any complaints, blame Amber, okay? But anyway, we always looked at it, everyone. Is this a decision that's good for kids? And is it a good, efficient decision for the taxpayers? And we have lived that for the last 20 years and really believe that those have been very much the hallmark of everything that we have done. You know, DuPage is a special place. You've all heard that. But it truly is. And you've had to have lived in other areas to really know the value of a DuPage County. And I've seen the standards here. I've seen the high accountability that you all have. And it's been our role, you know, as a county office as well too, to make sure that we've lived up to those high standards and to that accountability, you know, as well. I did learn early on that education here in DuPage County, we take it very seriously, very, very seriously. And so that, again, we'd always had to kind of step up to the plate to make sure that we're one step ahead of our schools in DuPage County. And I do want to say one thing, or at least, well, a couple of things, but one in particular. It was actually 1999 in Columbine happened. And I remember thinking about that and thinking, well, it's Littleton, Colorado. You know, that's that nice suburb, and you know what I mean? Like, that could never happen here. And a lot of people thought that. But you know what? We also were smart enough here in DuPage County to know that let's not let our guard down. If it could happen in a sleepy little town like Littleton, Colorado, it could happen anywhere. And that really gave birth to, in the state of Illinois, the first school safety task force. It was right here in DuPage. We had members from the CERTS team that were there. We had our police, we had fire at that time. We had mayors and managers, we had school officials. And we have continued that work here, where we are actually, State's Attorney Bob Berlin and I are going to Springfield in August because of the work that we are doing, that we have done in school safety here in DuPage County. And we are being recognized for the mutual aid agreement that we have just recently put together for all of our schools in support of each other. And so that's just one of the things too that I know is going to be in good hands, because you all take that extremely seriously, you know, as well. I also want to share that as good as you all have been to us, and as good as the state has all been to the Regional Office of Education, we all know that more dollars always help as well too. So we've been able to at least procure over the years over $50 million just in federal grants, just to help us with extra programs in leadership, programs in teacher quality, programs just to help all kids, at-risk programs. So we could do more, because you know what, as I said, DuPage County is a special place. You expect more. You want more. And so we've always tried to live up to that, as well, too. I know you had mentioned the bullying program, and I do want to tell you our anti-bullying, that was adopted by the State Board of Education as well. And that started one night, and I think it speaks to the work you all do at the county level, because it is about service. It's no matter who calls you, every one of them are your customers. Every one of them are your clients. I had a 17-year-old boy call me one night, and I picked up the phone that night, and I was at the office, and he said to me, I heard you care about kids. And here was a kid that shared a story with me about being bullied. And he was being bullied, and the teachers didn't know what to do. They tried to help. Counselors tried to help. This one tried to help. Parents tried to help. Of course, the young man called the State Board of Education, and the State Board of Education said, well, call your ROE. We get a lot of those calls. But since that's how the anti-bullying initiative got started, because it was that one student that kind of reached out to us. And I must say that he did invite us. He did invite me to his high school graduation, and I did attend that too, so he was doing quite well, very well at the time as well. I also want to acknowledge, and I had mentioned that I wanted to thank both past boards and current board. And one of the things many of you may not know is that in 2005, I came to the board at the time, and I came to them with a little initiative called Building Bridges of Understanding. Now think about that. That was in 2005. And that board approved this little bit of funding, and it allowed me to hire two people, a Latino woman, Lourdes Farrar, and a black man, Stephen Garlington. And they started the first really equity initiative here in DuPage County. They worked in our schools. We did, and one of the gifts is a book that we researched and actually had published, and we still get the royalties to it as well. That's called Voices. We talked to high school students in all of our high schools, high school seniors, Black and Latino high school seniors in every one of our schools in DuPage County. And we asked them, why do you think your Caucasian and Asian parents do better than you? And they told us, and we put it in the book. And it still is relevant today. But I wanted you all to know that stemmed, that little bit of money, that little bit of seed money that you guys gave to all of us, helped spark an equity initiative that is now recognized again across the state of Illinois. That also helped to spark, too. We did a lot more work, as you'd mentioned, with SEL. We are the SEL hub for the state of Illinois. We are the leadership hub for the state of Illinois. And one other hub I do want to say that we are. And it's on the very first slide. If you look at that very first slide, if we get public education right, everything else will follow. If we get it wrong, nothing else will matter. And that speaks, I think, to the heart of our democracy as well. And I want to say that in addition to our bullying and SEL and all the safety work that we've done, all the academic work, being the first in the nation to meet every standard, all the initiatives that we've had to put in place. I think one, that no one said we had to do it. No one said that it's important, to do it or whatever. We did it because it was the right thing to do. And I went before the Chicago Tribune board, the McCormick Foundation, about 15 years ago, and when they were still at downtown. And again, I had this little initiative that I said, I think we need to pay attention to civic education, and let's do something. We wanted to do something here in DuPage County, and we did. We hosted our first civic education summit, and we had mayors and managers, the county board members were all there, students, and that gave birth to the McCormick Foundation, an initiative where we now have a graduation requirement for every student. It has to have a civic education course in addition to a U.S. history course before they can even graduate. And we have done a ton of work in that particular arena. So I want to say thank you, staff. I could not have done this without you, with all the staff at the Regional Office of Education. I'm very proud of the fact that we have lived up to live up to high standards and accountability. I also want to say too, and I have to leave on this note because it's one of those things that like drives you crazy, but you're also so very proud of it. So Each year, the DuPage Regional Office of Education is audited. We don't get to hire our own auditing firm, okay, like our school districts do. We are audited by the Auditor General's office, and I will tell you, they will be in our office like for a year, just digging and digging and digging and trying to find something and asking more questions. And for the last 10 years, we have had absolutely zero findings. And you will not find that in any other regional office of education. So I just want to say, again, thank you. I know the office is in great hands because we have great people there. And I think you all need to give yourself a round of applause as well, too, for your support of us, all the good work that you have done. Oh, and I do have to add, too, the Work-Based Learning Initiative is alive and well. I am so excited. You gave us some seed money for that, too. So just thank you for that. I think you're going to be very proud of that one as well. So thank you. God bless all of you. And, yeah, keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Right, good night.
Okay, just as a nostalgic note, the civics education bill was one of the first bills I carried in the General Assembly when I first got there. So if your kids complain about civics in high school, don't have them call me. Yesterday, our District 3 board representatives joined me for an important and I hope impactful conversation with residents of the Willowbrook Corner community. These residents were deeply affected by the shooting on Father's Day at Route 83 and Honeysuckle Lane. It was important for me to communicate that we care about these and all of our residents. We value them. And as we do for all of our residents, we want them to know that the county is here to serve them and to help find solutions for the challenges in their neighborhood. I want to thank Tom Schneider and Charlie Kyle, who hosted the gathering at Ann M. Jean School, and I am grateful to the many community stakeholders who participated. We listened and learned a great deal, and our work with the community continues. Today on the agenda is an item very important to me. We have an opportunity to change lives and improve mental health services in this county for ourselves and for generations to come. I hope you will be an enthusiastic yes vote to provide county funding for the Crisis Recovery Center here on our Wheaton campus. We know that mental health services are desperately needed, especially among our youth. Today's vote demonstrates that as a body, we are willing to make the significant commitment to what I envision as a model public behavioral health facility that will, once again, set us apart in our region, in our state, and in our nation. Thank you for your consideration of this matter that is so important for all of us. Finally, I can report with the cooperation of the auditor, treasurer, state's attorney, and finance staff, we have made significant strides, and the unpaid invoices from the clerk's office that were previously brought before the board have been approved. The election division budget transfer on today's agenda will allow for the payment of all pending invoices. We have worked with the clerk's office to ensure the clerk supplied proper documentation to complete this process. My thanks to our county staff, the staff members from the elected officials' offices who facilitated this action. And now, on to public comment. On the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of the public shall be afforded time to address the board. Individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all remarks exceed 30 minutes. Our first speaker is
Chief Judge Ken Popejoy.
Good morning, all, and thank you. I come here in two capacities. The first is as Chief Judge of the 18th Judicial Circuit, and I support the Crisis Recovery Center, as does the entire judicial branch of DuPage County. I respect very much all the issues that you have, the decision-making, the considerations, and the like. You know I respect that and the hard work that all of you do. And I will attempt to stay in my lane. But I do want you to know that I and Judge Fullerton and Judge Walsh, presiding judges of Chancery and the specialty courts, have been part of the stakeholders that have been part of the development and planning for all of this. We find immense benefits in the Crisis Recovery Center for the judicial branch of government. From a civil point of view, there'll be far less guardianships that will be needed. There will be far less mental health hearings that will be needed. From a criminal point of view, it'll be a great assistance to the mental health court for orders of protection, for domestic violence issues, and the like. This will help keep the mental health professionals doing what is necessary with the people that have these needs. Not so much the judges and the jailers that don't have all of the experience needed to provide the aid to these individuals. It'll provide a better and quicker resolution to these issues. And of course, it will be great for our community. The second avenue I come to is as an individual, as Ken Popejoy. The maternal side of my ancestry has had 5 suicides in my lifetime, one of them being my mother 43 years ago. When I think of how many times police were called to her condo unit, and even the fire department once called to her condo unit before the last call that was made, of course, what it might have done to help her, what it might have done to give her some other options along the way. So I come as a personal individual too, and as a citizen of this county, and I've been a citizen for this county for 72 and a half years. Now, only one of those suicides was in this county with my mom, but I've lived through each and every one of them. And anything that we can do to assist the population with mental health issues is so important. It was not done in the past. It has not been done well in the past. And we still will learn from how it does need to be done. But I know in working with you in the last 2.5 years, and I know in being a judge for the last 26 years now, that this board has always been a leader in keeping DuPage County the gold standard for the development of community services for the benefit of our citizens. I thank you for your consideration, your time, and all of your efforts. Thank you.
Julie Yurko.
Good morning. I'm Julie Yurko, and I serve as president and CEO of Northern Illinois Food Bank. And I want to start by thanking Mary Keating and Greg Schwarzy for all their support over the past few years, many years, and past couple of weeks. I also want to thank this board. I've been with the food bank for 14 years. And I remember when I joined learning of the annual funding that came from this board so that we could purchase food for our food pantries in DuPage County. So I thank you for that consistent and generous support. I want you to know how committed Northern Illinois Food Bank is to serving our neighbors and our communities. We know that folks are struggling more now than ever, and we are here with fresh, nutritious groceries for them and their families because we know that they need them to lead healthy and active lives. I want you to know that we are seeing an increased need right now. I'm going to compare to pre-pandemic, meaning looking back to 2019 and 2020. We have seen the number of visits coming to our network increase from 297,000 visits every month to an average of 540,000 visits every month for the last 3 months. That's a 66% increase. We are serving more households today than we did at the height of the pandemic. You should also know that our meals have increased from 69 million meals in 2019 to an estimated 81 million meals this year. That's a 15% increase. You are probably going to hear from some of our food pantry and township partners that there's not enough food. They are not wrong. We have a 66% increase in need and a 15% increase in food. How are we doing that? We are buying food. Our donated food has been level. Our government food is down from the Department of Agriculture, so we are purchasing more food. We used to purchase about 9% of our food. We're now purchasing 25% of our food. We have grown our budget from $7 million to $21 million this year in purchased food. Pre-pandemic, the entire budget for the food bank was $21 million. Our growth is all for food. The funding you have given us for ARPA, the ARPA funding you've given us for produce is so helpful. We have purchased 1.4 million pounds of food at a cost of 56 cents per pound. We're distributing dozens of different types of food. We want the diverse produce that our neighbors need and want, that they desire. Everything from tangerines to mangoes to jicama to apples to potatoes. We are distributing that food as quickly as we can once it hits our warehouse out to our agencies based on their delivery schedule. We work together with Feeding America, our national organization, and our retailers, and we know that at least 10% of that produce is going to have to be discarded. It's going to be highly, it's going to be strongly molded and not, is that my time? Not available for distribution. That's just a reality of dealing with fresh produce. We have 24 of our agencies in this program. We are getting overwhelmingly positive reviews on the program with all that produce going out. I know there are issues, and we are here to talk about those issues and answer any questions at our pantries or you may have. But I encourage you to consider continuing this program. It is helping us meet the overwhelming need that we are facing today in Northern Illinois and here in DuPage County. Thank you so much.
Dennis Roboletti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very nice to see you in that seat, as I'm used to seeing in a different location, a couple hundred miles south of here. But my name is Dennis Roboletti. I'm the Addison Township Supervisor and have served in that capacity for the last 6 years. We run a food pantry that partners with the Northern Illinois Food Bank and have worked very closely with them throughout the pandemic, where our food pantry went from 75 families a week to 600 families per week. After the pandemic, we went down to about 100 families a week. We are now at 200 families and rising. That is because the federal government has cut off funding for our individual families. We have a large migrant population that is increasing weekly. And they are migrants from all over the world. Chinese, Russian, Ukrainian, Guatemalan, Nicaraguan. We have an entire world population that is coming to us. We have O'Hare Airport in our township. And we see those migrants coming into the food pantry. With that, we went from $10,000 that the township used to give our food pantry and working with the Northern Illinois Food Bank a year to now I have budgeted $100,000, which will not be enough for the year. I'm going to have to go to $150,000, and that is just to make enough to feed 200 families, the 200 visits that are coming weekly. The issue that I come to you with, and I've shared it with the chair, shared it with Member Tornatori and some others, is that we have been getting rotten produce from our partner, the Northern Illinois Food Bank. In May 23rd of this week, of last month, I threw out about 2,500 pounds of food that all of us as taxpayers paid for. The following week, another couple $100 worth of mangoes were thrown out. The other issue is when those come in, the produce was packed back in the middle of April, and it's coming to me 6 weeks later. So there is a breakdown in the process. Our families are counting on that. So when I'm short that produce, I don't have enough to give out as it is. I don't have enough food to buy from the Northern Illinois Food Bank because they don't have enough food, just staples. And I have talked to other food pantries about their same struggles. And so we're all in this boat together. We're all going to have to work together. When I show you produce like this that comes into our food pantry, it's not edible by anybody. It came as rotten to the Northern Illinois Food Bank, and it cannot be distributed to anybody. I'm not here to pick on the Northern Illinois Food Bank. We worked with them and picked up their routes throughout the pandemic, but what I will tell you is this. As food prices go up, they go up for us. We stopped taking food from grocery stores because I was tired of taking corporations' garbage and throwing it out in our dumpster for them to get a tax credit. We stopped taking that. The only produce I'm getting is from the Northern Illinois Food Bank. But I would suggest if we cannot work together and find a solution with this board and with the Northern Illinois Food Bank, I will be asking for additional funds, Madam Chair, and members of this body. But at the same time, we still need to provide produce for our food pantries, and I look forward to continuing this discussion as we move forward. So thank you for your time.
Diane Hewitt.
I thank you for giving me a moment to speak. I wanted to thank county staff, county board chair Conroy, members Childress, Rutledge, Chang, Evans, Garcia, Covert, and LaPlante for being so helpful, working with Lisle Township on so many different issues. Thank you so much for funding the Mental Health Crisis Center, and thank you for working with the townships together with our new mental health boards, figuring out how the township 708 boards can work in harmony and in coalition with the county facility. And so we also want to thank you for help with our GIS system, helping make sure that our PACE billings actually are reflected in what we pay together. So the supervisors together work bipartisanly and really appreciate the help of the county. The other piece that we've all come together, the supervisors with food pantries, is understanding how to work together to meet the needs of our community. We've talked about, the supervisors have talked about working together to get supplies apart from Northern Illinois, because part of the issue is we cannot find enough food. In my township, they haven't budgeted a dime for food, so instead we have 6 days a week looking to go out getting food from different resources like Aldi and Amazon and Jewel. 6 days a week going to scrounge food because we don't have a dime doing that. We really appreciate the $37,500 that you all have given us. We really couldn't have made it without it. Locally in 2020, our pantry was monthly helping, and we'd gone by individuals, about 500 people a month. Now we're averaging about 4,000 a month. This is a national issue that has grown acute locally. With a 66% increase in need and a 56% increase in cost in food, there is a problem that is very difficult to deal with on the ground. Lisle Township is looking to, again, come asking for more help, whether it's partially because we need tools for our food pantry. When you go that much of an increase and don't have any better tools to feed the people, no more facility, no trucks to meet those docks, we can't really do it in an efficient way. We need to ask for more help. And so we look forward to working with you and receiving that additional needed help to help feed our combined communities. Thank you so much, board members.
Angela Tanner.
Good morning. My name is Angela Tanner, and I am the Food Pantry Director at York Township. I come to you stressing our frustrations and our needs for our clients at our food pantry. Yes, we did have ARPA funds that went to the food bank, but the food bank is distributing food that is not quality to our clients. We are receiving produce twice a month, which is coming in rotten. It's not lasting more than 3 days. We do have the storage and the capacity to have it stored properly, but again, it's not coming out right. It is coming damaged, bruised, leaking, rotten, so it takes our time to separate the produce and use our garbage to throw it away. We're having to supplement every other week from ordering from the food bank because the food bank is lacking in product that we can purchase, so we are supplementing by ordering from Dollar Tree and other resources. We do go through food training every 2 years, but I feel like those standards from the food bank are not meeting our standards of what they expect of us to do with our produce and food safety for our clients. Our numbers are doubling every month, and we are getting busier and busier, and our clients are wondering why we don't have enough food, because we don't have enough funds to purchase this food and what they are looking for. Everything was fine in the beginning back in October when we were getting produce, but it is dwindling. Another issue that we are having is there's not any meat to be purchased from the food bank. We do food rescue from grocery stores, but they're lacking as well. They're not having enough product for us to take back for our clients, and our clients really rely on our food pantry, especially with the inflation going on in the grocery stores. Our clients do come as often as they can, but then they but they don't come as often because we can't provide enough food for them or product. I think what I want to stress is the food bank is not on the front lines. We are on the front lines. We see our clients every day. We see what they need, what they want to provide for their families, especially with summer coming. The kids are home more. They need more nutritious food, especially when it comes to protein and fruits and vegetables to feed their children. People are working every day to provide what they can. Their SNAP benefits are not going or stretching as much as they can either, so that's why they rely on us to go with their food. I just wish that we could have funding for us so that we could be in control of what we can purchase for our clients and not have someone else make the decision of where the money is going. Thank you.
Joanne Kreipel.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I have to read this because I'm really nervous. It's not that I'm not trying to look at you. This is in regard to the gathering and the shooting at the strip mall in unincorporated DuPage County near Willowbrook on the 18th. I know the board is aware and was to meet with a group of local leaders yesterday. The gathering has been described in the press as an annual Juneteenth event, which sounds as if it is a sanctioned event, which it is not. There is no permit, provision of sanitation facilities, or safety precautions as there would be for a truly scheduled event. This is an impromptu gathering organized through social media that also occurred last year when it continued well beyond 4 a.m. The next morning, the parking lot was strewn with bottles, cans, food, trash, and feces. There were in excess of 350 people at the gathering last year and this year. I live directly across the street on the east side of Route 83. It's my understanding that some of the businesses in that strip mall close at 10 and others at 11. They are essentially left unprotected after those hours. I'm here to discuss the event in anticipation of the upcoming July 4th weekend. With the incident last week ending with a young man tragically losing his life, I hope we all agree that safety is the highest priority. When I actually think about it, I guess I'm not surprised something like this would happen eventually. Historically, and as recently as last year's Independence Day, a similarly sized crowd gathered. In addition to the noise, heavy fireworks were set off. Especially with this year's drought, I am very concerned about the fireworks that are not set by professionals. In addition, many neighbors have animals and small children that are terrified because they're so close. I also urge resolution to these unplanned crowds that have gathered in growing size over the past few years. I hope that some of those longer-term solutions may have started to have been addressed yesterday. In the short term, I am hopeful that there will be a more robust law enforcement presence over the July 4th weekend than there was last week, that any crowd will be dispersed and any illegal fireworks dealt with. I would also anticipate this being a multi-evening occurrence given that the actual holiday is on Tuesday. Thank you for hearing my concerns.
Thank you. The board has received public comment via our online portal. Per board policy, these comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed, and comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. And on to the consent agenda. On to the consent agenda, I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items. We will start with 23-2203, DuPage County Board Minutes, regular meeting, Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. 23-2093, 6/9/2023 pay list. 23-2094, 2129, 613, 2023 pay list. 23-2167, 617, 2023 pay list. 23-2104, DuPage County Recorder's Monthly Review Statement, May 2023. 23-2105, DuPage County Treasurer Monthly Report of Investments and Deposits, April 2023. 23-2182, change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packet. 23-2135, 6-13-2023 IDOR wire transfer. All in favor? Okay, and on to County Board and Vice Chair, Member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I rise to move on CBR 0082-23 to expand the Board of Review appointment by 2 members. See the attached
Second.
list.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. And Chaplin.
Aye. Member Childress. Do you want me to wait?
8B, County Board Chair to attend the National Association of Counties National Conference in Austin, Texas,
Second most favorable roll.
July 23rd through July 24th. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, parking, mileage, etc., and per diem for approximately $1,803.
Leave is granted. Member Childress.
I'd also like to move on, County Board Member, to attend the National Association of Counties Annual Conference in Austin, Texas, July 20th through July 24th. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, parking, mileage, etc., per diem.
Leave is granted.
For
Member Childress.
approximately $1,798. Also, 8D, 23-2102. County Board Member to attend the Association of Counties Annual Conference in Austin, Texas, from July 20th, 2023 through July 24, 2023. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, parking, mileage, etc., per diem, for approximately $1,789.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Childress. I'd like to apologize. It appears we missed somebody in public comment.
I will apologize. It was my fault. There were two stuck together, and when I flipped it, there was one gentleman that got missed. So I apologize. It was my fault. I did not catch. So Mr. Connor Harmon has been waiting, and I apologize, Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Board, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. I work for Timber Hill Group, who is the property owner at 27 West 364 North Avenue, and also the applicant of 11C. I just have some brief comments about our project, but we propose to redevelop the site into a 57,100 square foot freight terminal and office building with associated truck and trailer parking. We'll meet all required setbacks and exceed them in several areas. And we're building a build-to-suit building for Main Freight, who's a freight warehouse and distribution service company based in New Zealand. They wish to expand their operations in the Chicago metro area and would like to relocate their Los Angeles headquarters or North American headquarters to this facility. In terms of improvements of what's currently existing today, we propose to decrease the applicable lot coverage by 10%. And as existing today, it is a truck parking facility. We propose to install stormwater infrastructure where there is none currently existing. And we propose to reduce the overall parking stalls, trip generation, and number of trucks on site. And we propose to install several screening measures to the north and eastern property lines. From a stormwater perspective, we'll meet the DuPage County countywide stormwater management ordinance. From an architectural perspective, it'll be a Class A office and industrial facility with significant amounts of glass, precast panels, and outdoor amenity features. And finally, from a conditional use standards perspective, we feel we meet and exceed all applicable standards. We'll reduce the existing traffic movements and trips on site, improve stormwater infrastructure, and will significantly raise the EAV of the property, and further many Choose DuPage goals and objectives from an economic development standpoint. And with that, when our item comes up, we're happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Okay, and we move on to finance and Member Chaplin.
Great. Good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you. Just by way of committee update, the Affordable Housing Committee, I think we're going to plan to try to do 2 meetings in August. So we'll put those, on, just keep those open in your schedule. Friday is the deadline for budgets to be submitted from all departments and all elected officials. And on July 25th, we're going to be scheduling a pre-budget workshop meeting. So with that, I will move approval of FIR 015223, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity 1E Rapid Response Grant in the amount of $500,000.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Yes. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Guston. Aye. Krajewski. Aye. LaPlante. Aye. Ozog. Aye. Rutledge. Aye. Schwarzy. Aye. Tornatori. Aye. You.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. And Cahill.
Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015323, approval and issuance of payments by DuPage County to various training providers through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity 1E Rapid Response Grant in the amount of $328,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015423, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the DuPage Animal Friends unrestricted grant in the amount from $50,000 to $75,000, an increase of $25,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015523, recommendation for the amendment to the Aging Case Coordination Unit Fund pursuant to Resolution FIR 037922, reallocating the disbursement of funds between state and federal, no charge to the total amount.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I enthusiastically move to approve as amended in finance FIR 015623, approval of an agreement between DuPage, County of DuPage and DuPage County Health Department for use of ARPA funds in the amount of $21,771,294.
Leave is granted.
Thank you.
Member Chaplin.
Thank you. Woo-hoo. I move approval of FIR 015723, budget transfers 627-2023 from various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. And I'm also honored to do the holiday schedule, which I'm sure everyone appreciates. I move approval of FIR 015823, 2024 holiday schedule.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. And finally, I move approval of FIR 015923, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services access to visitation grant in the amount of $102,000 for the Family Center.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And on to Animal Services and Member Krajewski.
Just real briefly, next month we'll have our groundbreaking on a new facility, and I want to thank DuPage Animal Friends. Well over $5 million was raised privately for that facility, and we saw an increase today from 50 to 75,000, another grant that they gave us. So looking forward to the groundbreaking next month.
Very exciting, and thank you for all the amazing work that your committee has done. Development and Member Tornatore.
Madam Chair, as I did not attend or chair last week's meeting, I'd ask Vice Chair Rutledge to present this afternoon.
Okay, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. I'd like to move on DCO 0025-23, Dawson, to approve the following zoning relief conditional use to increase the cumulative size of a detached accessory building from 1,727 square feet to approximately 2,304 square feet for an existing 593 square feet detached garage and a new 1,710 square foot detached accessory building, Wayne District 6.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. And Ozog.
Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Next is DCO 0026-23 for Shelley to approve the following zoning relief variation to allow a 6-foot closed privacy fence within the 10-foot corner side yard setback in Downers Grove District 3.
Okay, Member Rutledge, somebody needs to make a motion. Motion wasn't
I'm
made.
sorry.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Leave is granted. Member Rutledge.
Thank you. Next, I move on DCO 002723, Timber Hill Group LLC, to approve the following zoning relief. Conditional use amendment to a previously approved zoning relief,
Second motion before
Z21-011,
roll.
to allow for a conditional use to construct a warehouse building in Wayne District 6.
Okay, we have a question or comment, Member
Thank you, Madam
Schwarzy?
Chair. Would someone on this committee and/or staff just discuss the traffic pattern? First of all, how many trucks will be coming in and out of this? Morton Road and North Avenue doesn't have a stoplight, and so there's some concern there.
There testified that there would be approximately 30 trucks that would come in during the weekday. And then on the weekend, there could be some trucks that come and go sporadically, but most of the operations would occur during the weekday.
Will they be entering and exiting off of Morton?
Off of Morton, correct. One of the concerns that came up was how IDOT and the township would handle the access points. The developer is working with IDOT and the township on the access points right now. There's been no indication that access is not going to be allowed, but that'll be worked on as part of the building permitting process. But the access will come off of Morton Road.
Is there, forgive me for not knowing this, is there any stipulations about traveling north on Morton?
It'll be right in, left out onto Morton. No access going north of the subject property on Morton Road. Everything will come out to Morton Road and then to North Avenue.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and are we okay to proceed, or do we need a roll call? Okay, leave is granted then. Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Next, I'll ask for a motion on DCO-002823 for Lattice to approve the following zoning relief variation to reduce the rear yard setback from 25 feet to approximately 15 feet for an addition. Loud District 2.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Rutledge.
Next, I'll ask for a motion on DCO-0029-23 for D to approve the following zoning relief variation to reduce the rear setback
Second
for a
most favorable
proposed deck
roll.
from 3 feet to approximately 1 foot. Winfield District 6.
Leave is granted. Member
And
Rutledge.
last, I'll ask for a motion on DCO-003023 for Muhidge to approve the following zoning relief variation to reduce the rear setback for a proposed deck from 3 feet to 1 feet. District 6, and thank you, Coach Muhidge, for all the fabulous years of football at Wheaton-Moorville South.
Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Rutledge. And now we're Economic Development and Member LaPlante.
Thank you, Madam Chair. By way of committee update, I have a WorkNet DuPage success story snapshot to share with everyone. From entry level to executive, WorkNet DuPage uses the tagline from entry level to executive to describe who they serve and to illustrate that people from all walks of life and with all sorts of backgrounds come to them for assistance. This past month, a WorkNet client, George A., landed his new position as a tech infrastructure director, leading a team of experienced systems engineers. Following a layoff from his role as a senior manager with a tech consultancy, George completed a series of agile methodology, portfolio manager, and Scrum product owner certification trainings using funding through WorkNet. It did not take him long to land his new position once he finished training, which was a huge relief to George, who has 2 dependent children. He said this about WorkNet. Quote, I was able to get a job that paid the same as my previous company. Being over 50 years old, these certifications really helped me get my foot in the door. It put me on a more level playing field with younger applicants. This is such an awesome program, unquote. So thank you very much to WorkNet, and I look forward to sharing more success stories with you in the future. I move to approve item 12A, EDCO 2-23, amendment to purchase order 6161, serve, issued to Dell Marketing LP for an increase to the existing service level Microsoft Office 365 government licenses for Workforce Development Division for an increase of $13,905.50 for a new contract total of $51,026.29.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
LaPlante.
Aye.
Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia.
Aye.
Guston. And Krajewski.
Okay, thank you, Member LaPlante.
Thank you.
And now we're on to Environment and Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Going to stand this morning. I got a couple things I want to share with you this morning. One is, thank you, TikTok. I know it's kind of silly, but we do learn some things from TikTok, and this was one of the things. This was a 6-pack ring, or I guess an 8-pack ring. But now they're making these that they're perforated along one side. So as you pull a can out from that ring, you pull a little perforation, and there's just a little left that whatever you're pulling out of there can break this. So you don't have to cut these up. They're not a hazard to wildlife anymore. These get tied up in turtles and wildlife, all kinds of other things. So just a little something to share. Look for the perforated rings on your 6-pack. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, my son and I attended a restaurant the other night that I talked with Mr. Bedeloff about this. I want to see something like this, but the extent this place went for sustainable reuse, things like that, this whole back page were things that they did sustainably to build the restaurant. They capture all their roof water through a recycled pipeline, and that feeds their hops and herbs, which they grow right on their property. They grow 6 different varieties of hops, and they produce 80% of what they use to make their beer. All plants on the ground produce fruits, nuts, berries, and vegetables for their menu. They grow all of their lettuce and microgreens. They use 50% of their spent grains from brewing to make rolls, cookies, and dog bones. They make all of their sausages and bacon. The south-facing wall of the restaurant is thermally protected by our live wall, so all of their herbs and things are grown right on the facility. The steel and brick used on the other 3 walls was repurposed. This is not even all. The wooden and metal light fixtures inside the restaurant are made from used wine barrels and bands. The wood used to build the bar was repurposed from 2 turn-of-the-century brownstones torn down in the city of Chicago. The bar foot rails are made from the Illinois Railroad and has a 1938 manufacturing stamp. The doors, mirrors, and glass were all repurposed from salvage, and all outdoor lighting is 90% LED. So with our Sustainable DuPage initiative with Choose DuPage to try to get businesses to be more sustainable, I'd love to see this in DuPage because this was in Kane County. So here's my shout out to anybody that's that's looking at the high cost of supplies these days. There's plenty of this stuff to be had. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And Human Services, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple reports regarding Human Services that I'd like to present this morning. One of them regards the comments regarding the food, the problem with the food that's being delivered to the food pantries. So first of all, I take this issue very, very seriously. After last meeting, when Member Tornatore presented some of the concerns that was presented to him, you know, I reached out to our Director of Community Services, and immediately Mary Keating started reaching out to food pantries across the county. I know she has at least contacted somewhere around 10 to 12 at this point. You know, the good news is the feedback that she was getting directly from the food pantries was all positive, so that's the good part. She will continue to be in contact with the ones that she has not been able to reach yet, so we want to make sure we're on top of this, that we get all the information out there. Both Mary Keating and myself have had multiple conversations with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. We're letting them know the concerns. Obviously, you guys heard her here today speaking. You know, I need to say the food bank, the Northern Illinois Food Bank, is so valuable to the residents of DuPage County. You heard the numbers on how many people they feed, and they have my support. So another thing that we're doing is, as a delivery is being delivered actually today to Addison Township, we are sending out a full-time staff from Community Services, as well as the Northern Illinois Food Bank is sending out one of their executive staff to evaluate, help evaluate, and basically see what's going on, and certainly bring that information back to us, offer their help, and so forth. So lastly, both myself, Vice Chair Garcia, and our Director Mary Keating, we have been meeting with the, as I've mentioned in the past, we've been meeting with the food bank, we've been meeting with the big food pantries. We're scheduled Thursday to meet with the small nonprofit food banks, and then we will be setting up a meeting with the township, it's food pantries. We'll be setting up a meeting with the township food pantries directly to meet in person to, again, continue to get their feedback. So we're trying to keep our finger on the pulse of this. You know, food is such an issue. 60,000 DuPage residents don't know where their next meal is coming from, so we want to make sure that the food that we are getting out there and the money that we're spending is appropriate. So a couple other things. The DuPage Care Center renovation kickoff will be July 11th at 1 p.m. at the DuPage Care Center, so you're all invited to that. And then on July 18th, which is our only county board meeting in July, we will be hosting the DuPage Foundation along with those receiving the grants from our transformational grants, round 3 grants. There will be a presentation at the beginning of our board meeting at 10 a.m. But at 9:30, we're also going to have coffee and donuts with the recipients. There's 18, we're handing out 18 grants, roughly about 1.3 million. And the good news is there's donor advisors who see what's going on with the DuPage Foundation and supporting these nonprofits, that they are chipping in another $200,000 to these nonprofits. So that's great. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you, Chair Conroy, for allowing us to do that here at the county board meeting. So on to our action items. I move to approve item HSR 5523, a recommendation for the approval of a second modification to a home investment partnerships agreement with Catholic Charities, project number HM20-04A, tenant-based rental assistance to comply with Violence Against Women Act requirements.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Tornatore. Aye. You. Aye. Zay. Aye. Cahill. Aye. Chaplin. Aye. Childress. Yes. Covert. Aye. Desart. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Guston. Aye. Krajewski. Aye. LaPlante. Aye. Ozog. Aye. And Rutledge.
Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on item HSR 5623, a recommendation for approval of a second modification to a home investment partnerships agreement with DuPage Pads, project number HM20-04B, tenant-based rental assistance to comply with Violence Against Women Act requirements.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
I move on item HSR 5723, a recommendation for approval of a sixth agreement modification and a second regulatory land use restrictions modification with Bridge Communities, project number HM 15-05, scattered site transitional housing rehab, to correct existing agreement and RLURA non-compliance related to transitional housing, expand on tenant eligibility, and add a county-imposed continued use period.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on item HSP 5923, a recommendation for approval of a county contract to Benovate, Inc., doing business as Neighborly Software to support the grant application and management process within the Community Development Division. This contract covers a period July 1st, 23 through June 30th, 24. The second option of 3 one-year renewals for a contract total not to exceed $45,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on item HSP 6023, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Global Industrial for touchless automatic paper towel roll dispensers for the DuPage Care Center for the period June 28, 2023 through November 30th, 2023, for a contract total not to exceed $74,200 per contract pursuant to the Omnia Partners number R211402.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Finally, I move on item HSP 6123, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to McKesson Medical Surgical Government Solutions, LLC, to furnish and deliver incontinent products for the DuPage Care Center for the period of June 30, 2023 through June 29, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $240,000 per MMCAP contract MMS 2200736.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Okay, Judicial and Public Safety, and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my committee update, I would like to share that last week we had our state's attorney, Robert Berlin, come present to our committee, and he told us about all of the office's various roles and responsibilities. So thank you to our state's attorney. We learned a lot. And second, on the agenda today, I just wanted to point out that on the agenda is the approval of the 2023 Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan. I wanted to just give a shout out to our Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management under Director Craig Diekman. He worked with other county departments to get this, and Integrated Solutions Consulting, to get this approved in record time. This is no small feat. This is a heavy lift, and they did it they were fabulous. So on to, I would like to move on JPS CO 000523, recommendation for the approval of an amendment to resolution JPS P 027522 for a change order amending purchase order 60961, serve issued to Public Safety Direct, to increase the contract in the amount of $466,816.70, resulting in an amended contract total not to exceed $726,816.70.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Covert. Desart. And Eckhoff.
Okay, Member Evans.
Thank you. I would like to then move on JPSR 006223, adoption of the 2023 DuPage County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Evans.
Thank you.
And a legislative update from Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Illinois General Assembly remains adjourned until the fall veto session. Meantime, Speaker Welch appointed Representative Natalie Manley as Deputy Majority Leader. Representative Camille Lilly was appointed Assistant Majority Leader, filling that spot vacated by Representative Manley. In other news of interest, opioid settlement, Attorney General Kwame Raoul announced a bipartisan set of settlements worth $17.3 billion because of agreements with drug makers Teva and Allergan and the pharmacies CVS and Walgreens. They will start releasing funds to states later this summer. The Illinois will receive approximately $518 million over 15 years. The Attorney General noted an agreement with Walmart is anticipated in the coming weeks. Governor Pritzker signed a bill making Illinois the first state in the nation to outlaw book bans. The governor also signed House Bill HB 3425, which requires schools to inform parents and guardians of students involved in bullying incidents of said incident within 24 hours or to make diligent efforts to do so. That goes into effect immediately. He signed House Bill 3491, which provides that any laborer covered by the Prevailing Wage Act who is paid below the prevailing wage on the project has a right of action to recover wages lost. That goes into effect January 1st, 2024. He signed House Bill 3762, which removes all references to the death penalty in Illinois criminal statutes. That also goes into effect in January. He signed many more bills as well. I could be here till midnight telling you all the bills he signed. Moving on to Washington, now that Congress has resolved the debt ceiling drama, it's time to tackle a very lengthy to-do list. Appropriations Committee action has finally begun to pick up steam as the House has begun to hold markups. House Appropriations Committee Chair Kay Granger, a Republican out of Texas, announced that her committee would mark up spending bills at fiscal year 2022 levels, lower than the top lines included in the debt limit ceiling, except for defense spending, which will either remain the same or go up. Up for reauthorization every 5 years, the Farm Bill is a must-pass piece of legislation that is essential to meeting the needs of the agriculture industry and families who qualify for nutrition assistance. With the current reauthorization set to expire on September 30th, the House and Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry are tasked with drafting what is expected to be the most expensive farm bill to date, likely around $1.5 trillion. Locally, at our legislative committee meeting, we are asked by our Animal Services Committee to consider supporting legislation which would ban the declawing of cats and the devocalization of dogs, two unnecessary and harmful procedures. And Member Guston today asked us to look into the sale of THC to minors. So we will do that. Our next legislative committee meeting will probably be scheduled in late September or late August to early September to consider these ideas from our members and to discuss the upcoming fall veto session. That is the legislative committee update. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Dessert. Okay, Public Works and Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Just as by way of my committee update, I just wanted to give a kudos and to let everybody know that Public Works plate is full. They have a lot of things going on from other buildings. We just added another building to their plate. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the staff for all the great work that they do all the time. And that's really it for the committee because it is so much going on. There's too much to even tell you what's going on at this point in time. So I am going to move to approve PWP 003623, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to CDW Government LLC for computer hardware, peripherals, software, and licensing on an as-needed basis for Public Works facilities for the period of June 27, 2023 to February 28, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $35,000.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Garcia.
Aye.
Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
And Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I move to approve PWP 003823. Approval is requested for the County of DuPage to renew its membership with the Lower Des Plaines Watershed Group for Public Works for an amount not to exceed $93,000 for 2023 to 2026 membership dues.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I move to approve PWP 003723, recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois and HBK Engineering LLC for on-call professional engineering services for water distribution, sewer collection systems for various regions around DuPage County for the period of June 27, 2023 to November 30th, 2026 for a total amount not to exceed $95,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I move to approve FMP 007123, recommendation for the approval of a contract to the Standard Companies to furnish and deliver plastic trash and recycling can liners as needed for county facilities for facilities management for the period of July 14, 2023 through July 13, 2024 for a contract total amount not to exceed $40,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I move to approve FMP 007223, recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to Ron Tirapelli Ford for the purchase of one 2024 Ford F-650 diesel for facilities management, grounds maintenance for a total cost not to exceed $113,297.66.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
And finally, I move to approve FMCO 007223, amendment to Resolution FMP 038521, issued to Builders Chicago Corporation to provide preventative maintenance, service, and repairs for overhead doors, roll-up shutters, gate operators, dock levelers, and revolving doors as needed for county facilities for facilities management for a change order to increase the contract in the amount of $20,000, resulting in a new contract total not to exceed $212,520, an increase of 10.39%.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. And an update from Stormwater and Member Zay.
No shout-outs, reports, or updates today, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Member Zay. Okay, Strategic Planning and Member Covert.
Good morning, Madam Chair. No updates for today.
Okay. And Technology and Member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on TEP 005523, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to AT&T Mobility for the annual licensing and maintenance of AirWatch mobile device management for IT. This contract covers the period of July 1, 23 through June 30, 2024 for contract total amount of $34,860.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
You.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. Cahill. Chaplin. Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Shorzy. And Tornatore.
Okay, Member Yu.
Thank you. I now move on TEP 005623, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to SHI International Corp. for the procurement of VMware licensing to update the county's current virtual infrastructure for IT. This contract covers the period of July 17, 2023 through July 16, 2026 for a contract total amount of $500,947.91.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Yu. And Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, I move for approval of DTP 0155B22, amendment to Resolution DTP 0155A22 issued to Patrick Engineering for professional Phase 1 preliminary engineering and Phase 2 design engineering services for improvements to the bridge carrying County Highway 21 Geneva Road over the west branch of the DuPage River to increase the funding in the amount of $25,371.12, resulting in an amended contract total of $719,749.70.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozog.
Yes.
Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 007823, recommendation for the approval of a contract to LRS Holdings LLC, doing business as Lakeshore Recycling Systems, for solid waste disposal services as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period June 28, 2023 through March 31st, 2024 for a contract total not to exceed $66,000 per lowest responsible bid.
Thank you. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog.
Thank you. I
Okay.
move for approval of DTP 007923, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Traffic Control Corporation for annual maintenance and support services for the Division of Transportation's Centrac ATMS software system for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 for a contract total not to exceed $35,345, not suitable for competitive bids, proprietary software, maintenance, and support.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog.
Thank you.
Okay, and we will move on to old business. Do members have any? Member Krajewski.
Yes, I just want to address the food pantry issue. this is a big issue here in DuPage County, and this has been going on for 2 years. And it was almost a year ago this time that, you know, I had some issues with the Downers Grove Fish Food Pantry in the township. I had asked questions about what was going on with it. I was told that they filled the form out wrong. Well, that didn't go over well, so I spent 2 days on the phone. I talked to the Northern Illinois Food Bank. I got the person in charge of DuPage who told me about software issues. I then talked to Julie, who was here. She identified some issues, and I talked to a number of the township food pantries, the Westmont People's Resource Center, and in 2 days, then Member Chaplin and I held a meeting here with all these stakeholders, and we identified the need. We also found out Northern Illinois Food Bank had put in for $1 million+ in money to the DuPage Foundation, but it didn't fit those guidelines, so they were denied. This had been going on for a year. Unbeknownst to us, we thought we were helping food pantries. So this prior board actually put out $5 million we set aside for the food pantries. We gave it to Northern Illinois Food Bank, and I got the presentation here. We set aside $2.25 million a year ago to look into investments in distribution of infrastructure, refrigerator vehicles, distribution hub facilities, technology improvements, and plans to develop with the Northern Illinois Food Bank and our partner agencies. And that issue was getting this fresh produce, because Northern Illinois Food Bank could buy it at a 40% discount, getting it here to the DuPage pantries. So we talked about hubs, like Addison has a facility that could hold it. Wayne has their own truck so they can drive, it's close. People's Resource Center in Westmont can hold it. We talked about, I remember talking to Hinsdale Community House, which has the food pantries. Refrigerated trucks would be great. So we talked about all that, at least that was the plan a year ago. And we're sitting here today, and it doesn't appear that we've done any of that. We got the same complaints, some of the same people that were here complaining about that produce being rotted. Part of it was they were getting it from the stores, so we allocated money to get fresh produce, but it seems like this transportation distribution infrastructure is a big issue here. I know Northern Illinois Food Bank has large trucks, so they try to take one load, but we talked about smaller vehicles, whether Addison Township participates because they have, and Wayne, they have vehicles, smaller ones. To bring it to a distribution hub in Westmont, and the local ones in that area can go pick it up. But it appears a year's gone by, and we're at the same place except they're buying food, but we haven't done any of the plans that we're supposed to. So I think this needs to be elevated to a much higher priority, whether you put a subcommittee together with these stakeholders, but this distribution of getting this fresh food into DuPage County needs to be solved. And we identified it a year ago, and I don't think we've done anything as it relates to that. Thank you.
Member Garcia and then Member Schwarzy.
Yeah, I was just gonna, I had a couple questions. One on the food pantries. I do volunteer, as I've said before, for the Lyle Township Food Pantry Vegetable Garden. And I did go into their food pantry to see how their produce was this last week, just to see if they were having any issues, and they are not having the same issues. Do they need more food? Absolutely. That's what we keep hearing, that food is a problem, and we know that. We've been working on it. But the produce they're getting, you know, if it's like a pear or two at the bottom of a box, it's been bad and stuff like that. So that was that one comment. If I can make one other comment, I just wanted to thank you, Chair Conroy. I was very excited to see in your meeting with the District 3 members yesterday, because we heard from a social worker at a police department that they had hoped mental health services would be coming to that area. And I saw that that is going to be a priority for you. And so I'm so grateful to you for bringing that to there, because, you know, the children that are experiencing all of that all the time, and even the people, the adults, it's horrible. And so I'm just grateful to the foresight that all of you, in that meeting had. And I want to thank you all for bringing that forth. So thank you.
Thank you. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to make some comments in response to Member Krajewski's questions and concerns. And I would respectfully disagree that nothing's being done. Part of the reason earlier this year we started meeting, again, we met with the Northern Illinois Food Bank first. We met with the 4 largest food pantries second. We're meeting with the smaller food pantries later this week, and then we'll close out meeting with the rest of the smaller pantries with the townships sometime soon. Part of our questioning has been what sort of capital expenses could you use that will help feed our county? And we talked about trucks, we talked about refrigerated trucks, we talked about transportation vans, we talked about freezers. So this is an ongoing thing, and we've been working on this now for the last 3 or 4 months. And that was after initially giving $2.75 million to be split between the food banks and the food pantries, which went straight to food. So in the process of our discussions, all those capital type of expenses are important, and they're being talked about. We are still continuing to get, with that being said, we need food, we need food, we need food. So as of last month, we just earmarked, or maybe it was earlier this month, we earmarked another $500,000 to go to food. So we, at this point, we have $1.75 million left that we have, basically 2 years to spend. We want to continue to feed our residents, but the conversation is being had, and we're continuing to have that. And we, based on these conversations, a plan and information will be brought back to this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Cahill.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I'm glad you're sending somebody out to Addison Township to inspect the food that comes in on the truck. My experience was I volunteered a few months back, and there was cottage cheese. They were long on cottage cheese, but it had an expiration date of the next day. So we were giving 2 large cartons to anybody who came up with an expiration date the next day. So that's doesn't really work for families. So I'm glad that we're looking at that, and I'm glad that we're sending people out there to inspect. Thank you.
Okay, Member Guston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm trying not to look at this from a myopic view with respect to the food. Lisle Township, Addison Township, Loaves and Fishes is a big, big provider in Naperville, in Aurora, and they service all of the community here in DuPage County who have received millions and millions and millions of dollars to be able to provide produce and food to those in need. The dollars are there, the produce isn't, and that's the difficulty. And so even when we look at the bigger providers, they're struggling for produce too. So I don't know what the solution is, but I think it's more of a regional issue versus, just the Lisle Food Pantry or the Addison Food Pantry. So I'm happy to hear that they are meeting with the bigger food pantries to be able to kind of maybe even work together and figure out a way to be able to get that produce spread out evenly, or at least keep it in a fresh vein so that people can have fresh produce. So I really think having that relationship between the big ones and the small ones working together might get us to where we need to be. The bigger picture might even be, I'm seeing a lot of the farms in Sandwich area, Somonauk area, those farms are now being covered by solar panels. So that is going to be a reduction in our products, right? Just by matter of fact, by business. So that was the one thing that I'm hopeful of, that the bigger groups and the smaller groups can get together and hopefully come up with some solution. The other is the Willowbrook issue. We had a lady come speak here in public forum, and I am heartfelt for her and her community there. I am wondering if there is an opportunity for us. We know a lot of these events are marketed on social media, online, and there really is a way to track who is hosting it, and basically whoever's hosting it should get a permit to be able to host any kind of event like this or any other event, so that we at least know that our staff is aware of what is going to be happening in different areas of the county. So I'm wondering if there's a way we can work with legal staff to figure out a way to do an ordinance where if it's an online event, there's a way in which a mechanism in place whereby they have to be permitted. And then we have a tracking mechanism, number one. Number two, the building that was in Willowbrook, I believe, was mostly subsidized by our Section 8 vouchers, which is important to recognize because we do have IDA and we do have DuPage Housing Authority that issues vouchers. And so I would think they would want their buildings that they're issuing their Section 8 vouchers to be safe and that everybody in that building is safe. So I would really hope that they would step up also to work with the sheriff's office and other departments to make sure whatever they need to make sure the community there is safe is actually done. So those are my comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a different note that I'd like to discuss today, and that's this newspaper article is from the Naperville Sun, September 7th, 2022, about the FBI reviewing the DuPage Sheriff's Department leads to disciplinary action. Disciplinary action was taken against several members of the DuPage County Sheriff's Office for policy violations after an audit by federal law enforcement agencies raised questions. Sheriff Mendrick said his office underwent a random review by the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI. However, the FBI spokesperson advised that the agency generally does not conduct audits of local and state law enforcement. From the patch about the same time, October 2022, a DuPage County Sheriff's lieutenant and deputy were found last month to be improperly using criminal databases. The inquiry was prompted by the FBI, which indicated it is auditing the sheriff's office. The report focused on Lieutenant Christopher Van Hoos and Deputy Stephen Roeder. According to the document, both men used the criminal databases. According to the report, Roeder admitted he ran hundreds of names through criminal databases despite his expired certification. Now, why I'm bringing this up now is because just last week, again, this is the Naperville Sun, a Naperville police officer was arrested on charges he illegally checked someone's license plate number to obtain personal information. This officer was arrested on a Class 3 felony charge of official misconduct. He is charged, this is according to the state's attorney's own press release, he is charged with one count of official misconduct, a Class 3 felony. This person knowingly performed an act that he knew was forbidden by law to perform by using the law enforcement agency's data lead system, or LEADS, in violation of the LEADS Administration Code. Quoting Bob Berlin, the allegations are very serious. So, transparency, accountability is important, even as we hold ourselves accountable and those of our own accountable. So my question for the sheriff and for the state's attorney is, why weren't Lieutenant Van Hoos and Deputy Roeder charged with Class 3 felonies, as this Naperville police officer was, for essentially the same alleged crime? Now, this Naperville police officer was charged with, issued $10,000 bond with 10% to apply. And we saw no such charges against the two DuPage County officers. And I'd like the sheriff and the state's attorney to respond. Thank you.
Certainly, I can answer for the sheriff's office. I would direct you directly to the state's attorney. Perhaps you could give state's attorney Bob Berlin a call on your question. Member Desart.
Thank you. And Barb, I will, but I thought the whole board should know about this. Thank you.
Okay. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know we've been talking about the food pantries, and I'm grateful for Member Tornatore to bring this up 2 weeks ago. And I know everybody's working hard on it, and I don't think anybody's pointing fingers. We just want good food going to our residents who need it. And my only question is that we had several townships here today talking about the food and the issues they're having, but they're the last ones to be contacted for a meeting. I would think they'd be the first ones contacted for a meeting. We met with the bigger food pantries, we got the smaller ones, and then he said, then we're going to set a meeting up with the townships. We hear from the townships, obviously, because they're elected officials, and they're going to come to us when they have issues. So I would hope sooner than later we can set a meeting up with the townships and get that worked out. Just again, I don't think they're upset. I think they're frustrated because they're the ones on the front lines, and they're the ones seeing the people coming, and there's not enough food for them. And I'm sure they care, and they want to give them as much as they can. I don't think we're just looking to do the best for our residents and for their clients. And again, if we could work that out and let us know, because, any idea might be good right now, because unfortunately, I've talked to some farmers. The drought is serious here in Illinois, and they're a couple weeks away from filing, insurance claims. We will have even less produce in this area than we're expecting. So again, if fresh produce is becoming a problem, then maybe we shouldn't be putting our money in there. We should be going with frozen or canned or something at the meantime. I mean, food's food, but we'd love to get them fresh produce, but we don't want to be wasting money, and we want to make sure these people have, you know, the food that they need for their families. So, thank you.
And I actually spoke, Dennis Revletti reached out directly to me, and I have spoken to him several times, and we are taking it very seriously and will continue to do so and find the solutions that we need to make sure that people are getting the fresh food that they need. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, yeah, back to the food pantries. You know, I think just the frustration maybe from Member Krajewski is that we had talked about maybe getting them a vehicle or a frozen truck like last year around this time, but nothing's been happening. So I think that might be where the frustration is with that, because I know we had talked about it extensively. So that might be an issue. But, you know, if we can't get fresh fruit from stores, you know, we have the Hope's Garden right here, and they said they were going to grow 4,000 pounds of food. I don't know how much that feeds. But maybe we do have to look locally at other sources to provide that fresh fruit, because I think they might toss a lot. I don't know what they're doing with the food that they're growing, but that might be another option. I mentioned it last week, you know, and I think Member Guston talked about, you know, maybe we can look at local farmers or something to help get that fresh fruit. And I do agree with Member Zay, because I was actually at the grocery store and I saw the peaches and the mandarin oranges, which are some of my favorites. And I thought, you know, maybe if we can't get the fresh fruit, maybe we do. I know it's not quite as nutritious, but it might be another option, you know. But that might even be a problem getting that food. I don't know. And, but I think, you know, I appreciate your taking the lead on this too, because I know it'll get solved. And I also wanted to thank you and the District 3 members for going out to Wilbert Corners. It's long overdue, so I really, really appreciate that. And the District 3 members for doing that. And I'm sure the people out there also appreciated it. And I just did want to express my, I do share some of the concerns that came in our public comment, just with the 4th of July coming up and making sure that if there are any other events that they're dispersed, that, you know, that we don't have that same issue. But those are my comments, so thank you.
Okay. Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. On the food shortage issue, we had talked in the Environmental Committee about a year-round greenhouse that we might be able to build over at the fairgrounds, but the cost came in pretty eye-popping because we would have had to pour concrete base, first of all. But I've been trying to think outside of the box on places that we could make that indoor greenhouse year-round and help with storage facilities. I did talk to the food pantry in West Chicago, and she's like, oh my God, if we could get storage for, you know, the donations that they just can't fit in their facilities. So I guess I'm going to task everybody to think about places in their district that might be a place that we could rent, that we could transform into that indoor growing space to get people over the winter time, and maybe take a look at it from a outside of the box perspective and consider a space that we might be able to rent and convert for way less than what we were looking at for that greenhouse. Thank you.
Okay. Member Tonatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, thank you to you, Mary Keating and Greg Schwarzy, for looking into the food issue that I brought up a few weeks ago. Both Addison and York Township, as well as Bloomingdale Township, are in my district, so obviously it's a significant concern to me. Also, thank you to the board for the allocation of funds today for the Crisis Center, and just a reminder, tomorrow there is a reception for Karen Ayala from 2 to 4 at the Kurzweil Center. Everyone is invited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to make a comment to Member Chaplin's comment about the trucks. I want this board to understand that when we met, as we've been meeting with these townships, you know, these capital items were discussed, but it wasn't, I need a truck, I need a truck, I need a truck. It was like, man, we'd like to have a truck, but man, we need food. So, you know, again, we're still in the gathering information process, and again, more information will be coming. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Member Galassi and then Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to comment on yesterday's meeting and thank you for organizing that and taking the lead on that and facilitating the meeting, and also for the county board staff who put that together. I just want to comment, it was a great, productive conversation, learning about many concerns that the community has as well as potential solutions. And I very much look forward to staying involved to properly serve this community the best that this county can. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Galassi. And Member Galassi, Member Evans, and Member Krajewski were very committed, helpful, and caring at this meeting yesterday. I know they will continue to be. Member Krajewski.
Just real quick, Nick, do we still have that refrigerator truck that's never been used, that's sitting out there for 3 or 4 years? I mean, just,
So the answer is yes, but
I mean, it's
it
never
is-
been used, right?
It has been
Oh,
used
all
for
right,
its previous
then never mind.
purpose.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, in old business, or we'll move on to new business. I would like to thank Member LaPlante for bringing forth the conversation at our last meeting about a parliamentarian. I thought it was a very good, productive conversation amongst all of us. And I want you to know that on July 18th, we will have a presentation on Robert's Rules with the state's attorney's staff. Anybody else in new business? Member Krajewski.
Just real quick, we've talked about it a few times at board meetings. We set aside some money for the bowling through the DuPage Visitors Bureau. We had Naperville come to us recently for some money for a special event. I think what we should do is just, because we want to promote tourism, just carve aside some dollar amount, like $500,000, to allow these different areas to come, or any organizations to come forward that are going to have potential of getting a big event. I think Member Zay mentioned one that's coming up. That would bring a number of people into DuPage County. Instead of keep doing them one-offs every time one comes, that we just set aside a pot of money, like I said, $500,000 or whatever this board decides, and then let the Economic Development Committee just look at these applications and decide, yes, it's bringing in a lot of heads and beds, which will generate hotel tax, sales tax for not only us, but the communities, or, it doesn't because it's small events, but instead of having them keep coming forward one after one.
I would agree with that also. I think it's more fair and more unilateral, so everybody can be a part of the pool.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. I'm informed that we have no matters requiring us to be in executive session. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned to Tuesday, July 18th, 2023.